The Wraiths of Hangman's Hill, a tale from Epping Forest. In the shadowed heart of Essex, nestled amidst the sprawl of ancient woodland known as Epping Forest, lies a place shrouded in dread and whispered legend, Hangman's Hill. It is a locale where the veil between the living and the dead is purportedly thin, and the echoes of a morbid past linger with chilling persistence. The history of Hangman's Hill is steeped in somber tales dating back to the 18th century, when it served as the execution grounds for convicted criminals. These unfortunates were led up the hill at dusk, the noose of the hangman swaying ominously in the twilight breeze, an eerie prelude to their ultimate fate. Villagers would gather, their faces a grim tableau of fascination and horror, as each criminal met their end beneath the gnarled limbs of the ancient oak that came to be known as the Hanging Tree. Over time, the hill seemed to absorb the despair and terror of those condemned souls, giving birth to a spectral phenomenon that endures to this day. It began as mere hushed stories among the locals, tales of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions that haunted Hangman's Hill. The legend tells of the wraiths of Hangman's Hill, spirits of the executed, doomed to relive their grim fate night after night. When the clock chimes midnight and the world is cloaked in darkness, it is said that the hollow echoes of footsteps can be heard trudging up the hill, a ghostly procession of the damned seeking absolution that would never come. Travelers and thrill-seekers, drawn by the allure of these tales, often dare to venture near after sunset. They report their vehicles inexplicably rolling uphill, as if unseen hands were pushing them toward the old hanging tree. This tree, a silent witness to countless last breaths, is rumored to whisper the secrets of the condemned when the wind rushes through its withered branches. One chilling account involves a local historian, James Harrow, known for his skepticism of supernatural phenomena. One fateful evening, driven by a mixture of derision and curiosity, he set out to debunk the myths surrounding Hangman's Hill. Armed with a camera and a flashlight, James parked his car at the base of the hill as the sky darkened ominously above. As midnight approached, a dense fog began to roll in, enveloping the hill in a ghostly mist. James felt a growing unease as the air turned cold, and a strange silence enveloped the area, broken only by what he first thought to be the rustling of leaves. But then, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoed in the darkness, growing louder, closer. Panicking, James turned to flee, but found his car inexplicably moving, uphill toward the hanging tree. Overcome with terror, James watched helplessly as shadowy figures materialized in the fog, their forms distorted and ethereal, moving relentlessly toward him. The air filled with whispers, fragments of pleas and cries for mercy from centuries past. Fumbling with his camera, James managed to capture what appeared to be faces contorted in anguish, forever captured in the spectral light. James Harrow's experience transformed him. The photographs, though grainy and indistinct, were enough to convince him of the reality he had previously denied. He spent his subsequent years documenting and researching the paranormal activity around Hangman's Hill, becoming a fervent believer in the legends he had once scorned. Today, Hangman's Hill remains a place of both fear and fascination. Some visit in hopes of a thrill, others to perhaps glimpse something beyond this world. Skeptics and believers alike walk the same paths trodden by the condemned, drawn by the mystery of what lies beyond the shadows. As the legend of the wraiths of Hangman's Hill continues to evolve, it serves as a chilling reminder of the area's dark history and the enduring power of local folklore. Whether fact or fiction, the legend persists, a captivating narrative of a place where history and horror intertwine, leaving their mark on the hearts and minds of those who dare to wander too close after dusk. The Phantom Patrolman. His tale is one of the most unsettling chapters in the forest's storied history, combining elements of the paranormal with an unresolved mystery that dates back to the 1960s. The story begins with Constable Edward Mallory, a dedicated officer known for his diligence and courage. In the autumn of 1964, a series of reports emerged regarding unexplained lights seen weaving between the trees in the depths of Epping Forest. Skeptical but thorough, Constable Mallory set out one chilly evening to investigate, armed with nothing but a flashlight and an innate sense of duty. Mallory never returned from his patrol. After an extensive search, only his flashlight was found, lying next to an old, gnarled oak tree. No footprints, no signs of struggle, just the cold, abandoned light amidst the fallen leaves. His disappearance became one of the area's most perplexing mysteries, leaving colleagues and locals alike haunted by the many unanswered questions. Since then, reports have surfaced of a spectral figure wandering the paths of Epping Forest at night. Dubbed the Phantom Patrolman, this ghostly apparition is described as a silhouette of a man in a police uniform, his hand clasping a dimly glowing flashlight. Those who have encountered the phantom describe a sudden drop in temperature and a palpable sense of foreboding that envelops the air. Eyewitnesses often report hearing the distant sound of a police whistle, followed by a faint voice, as if calling out for someone or something lost within the shadows. As they approach, the light from the flashlight begins to flicker, growing dimmer with each step, until it finally vanishes, leaving them in an oppressive darkness that seems to echo with the remnants of despair. Local folklore suggests that the Phantom Patrolman is Edward Mallory, eternally searching for the source of the mysterious lights he set out to investigate. Some believe these lights were supernatural in origin, perhaps spectral lanterns carried by the spirits of those who perished in the forest under less than natural circumstances. Paranormal investigators have theorized that Mallory's spirit may be caught in a time loop, a replay of his last living moments driven by his unresolved mission. This phenomenon, often referred to as a residual haunting, is thought to occur in places where high emotional or traumatic events have left an imprint on the environment. One particularly chilling account comes from Sarah Jennings, a local hiker who encountered the Phantom Patrolman in the late 1990s. She recalls feeling an inexplicable chill as she wandered near the spot where Mallory's flashlight was discovered. The sound of a distant whistle stopped her in her tracks, and she turned to see a faint light bobbing towards her through the trees. As the light approached, she felt an overwhelming sense of sadness and fear, compelling her to flee. Why today, the legend of the Phantom Patrolman serves as both a cautionary tale and a morbid attraction for those drawn to the mysteries of Epping Forest. The local police have long since closed the case of Edward Mallory's disappearance, but his memory and the eerie circumstances surrounding his fate continue to intrigue both skeptics and believers. Whether as a tale to warn the unwary wanderer about the dangers of the forest at night, or as a genuine paranormal phenomenon, the story of the Phantom Patrolman remains a fascinating enigma. It is a poignant reminder of the forest's dark history, forever woven into the fabric of local lore, and a spectral presence that continues to haunt the paths of Epping Forest, searching endlessly for answers swallowed by the shadows. The Babes in the Wood murders. The forest, with its ancient trees and hidden groves, holds many secrets, but none as heart-wrenching as the infamous Babes in the Wood murders, a case that remains etched in the collective memory of the local community. It was a bleak November day in 1970 when a local dog walker stumbled upon a harrowing scene. Nestled beneath a dense carpet of autumn leaves were the bodies of two young children, a brother and sister, aged just 8 and 10. The children, clad in their now tattered school clothes, were positioned side by side, their small hands clasped together as if seeking comfort in their final moments. The news of the discovery sent shockwaves through the community, and the police launched an extensive investigation. Despite their efforts, the case grew cold with few leads and no suspects. The children became known as the Babes in the Wood, their identities lost to time, their story a tragic legend that lingered over the forest like a persistent fog. As the years passed, locals started to whisper about a curse that had befallen Epping Forest, a curse born from the unresolved spirits of the two children. It was said that on misty evenings, the faint sounds of children's laughter could be heard echoing between the trees, a haunting reminder of the innocence that was stolen from the woods. Those brave enough to walk the forest at dusk reported seeing shadows flitting between the trees, small and quick, accompanied by the rustling of leaves, as if someone or something was moving just out of sight. Others spoke of finding tiny footprints in the mud that appeared from nowhere and led nowhere, as if the children were forever doomed to wander the forest, unable to find peace. Jane Ellison, a fledgling journalist intrigued by the legend, decided to delve deeper into the story for the 20th anniversary of the discovery. Armed with a camera and a voice recorder, she ventured into the forest as twilight deepened, determined to uncover the truth hidden beneath decades of rumors and superstitions. As night enveloped the woods, Jane felt an inexplicable chill cut through the air, the silence around her thick and oppressive. She reached the site of the discovery, marked by an old, gnarled oak tree. Suddenly her camera flickered to life of its own accord, capturing images rapidly. Jane's heart raced as she reviewed the photos. Each one displayed the faint outline of two small figures, their features blurred but unmistakably childlike. A soft giggle broke the silence, sending a shiver down Jane's spine. The temperature dropped, her breath visible in the icy air. The leaves rustled violently as if caught in a sudden wind, yet the air was deathly still. Paralyzed with fear, Jane could only watch as two ghostly figures materialized in front of her, their hands still clasped together, their eyes hollow pools reflecting moonlight. The figures stared at Jane, and a voice, a delicate, trembling whisper, filled her ears. "Find him," it said. Startled, Jane stumbled backward, her mind reeling. The figures faded as quickly as they had appeared, leaving behind a small, crumpled piece of paper. Jane picked it up, her hands trembling. It was an old police report from the time of the murder, with a name circled in red ink. It was a breakthrough, a clue that had somehow been overlooked or ignored. Driven by the encounter, Jane reopened the investigation with the police. The circled name led them to a now elderly man, a former caretaker of the forest, who, faced with the overwhelming evidence brought forth, confessed to the crimes. It emerged he had been driven by old superstitions and a twisted mind. With the truth revealed and the killer brought to justice, the hauntings in Epping Forest subsided. The laughter and the eerie presence of the children diminished, their spirits finally at rest. Jane's story of that night in the forest became legendary, a chilling reminder of the unresolved mysteries that can linger in the shadows, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover the truth. The babes in the wood were no longer just a part of Epping Forest's dark folklore. They were a tragic chapter finally closed, allowing the forest to whisper other, less sorrowful stories. These tales, each rooted in tragic truths and whispered in hushed tones by those who know the forest well, contribute to the sinister allure of Epping Forest. Visitors are warned to respect its boundaries and beware the deceiving tranquility of its paths, for not all who wander in Epping Forest care to wander out. Additionally, it is crucial to approach the forest with a mindset of respect for the spirits and entities that are believed to dwell within. These forces, regarded by many as very real presences, command a respectful observance of their space and history. Disrespecting these spirits can be seen not only as a violation of local customs and legends, but potentially invites unknown consequences. Honor the past and those who remain part of it, visible or not, as you tread through their domain.
Thank you for tuning in to Torment Lurie's Lair, where the spooky meets the kooky. If today's eerie tales tickled your spine and your funny bone, don't ghost us. Follow and subscribe. Join our ghoulish gang to stay updated with all the chilling yet chuckle-worthy episodes we have lurking up our sleeves. Thanks for listening, and remember, a good scare a day keeps the boredom away. See you in the shadows.